Well, hello, my yarny friends. I'm Sara Sach, and welcome to another edition of Friday Fun Day. We're going to have some fun today. See this headband that I'm wearing? We're going to make one of these. I'm going to show you another one. Here's one I did in some really bright colors. I did the back in white, but I wanted to do it this way so that you could see how the twist works. I call this the simple twisted headband, and I wrote this pattern probably 10 years ago, and I made a video a long time ago, and I had a couple requests to update that video to our new format, and so that's what we're going to do today. We're going to make this super simple headband that has a super easy twist. You can make it out of any fiber, and I'll talk more about yarns in just a second. All right, and so that's what we're going to do today for our Friday Fun Day, is make this super simple twisted headband. Now, as always, I will put the link for the complete pattern with pictures in that description box underneath this video. To make our simple twisted headband, you're going to need a little less than 2 ounces of any medium weight number 4 yarn. Now this one I did in just some cotton that I had on hand. I started with white because we stitch it in rows, and then I switched to this beautiful bright rainbow, and then I finished with the white on the back. And like I said, I did that for a reason, so that you could see how simple this twist is. There's no joining at the front. It's just the way we twist it, and then we join it in the back. Really simple, but you're going to need less than 2 ounces of any medium weight number 4 yarn. The one that I have on my head is an acrylic yarn. It's, I believe it is called Red Heart Soft, and I don't know the color. It's just a really bright color. This one, of course, is, I believe this is sugar and cream, and then this is just your basic peaches and cream white, both 100% cotton. For today's demonstration, we're going to use this tweed, and this is a medium weight number 4. It moves from color to color, and I think it's going to be really pretty for this particular headband. And I also believe this is an I Love This yarn from Hobby Lobby in their tweeds. I don't know the name of the color. You could probably get on the Hobby Lobby website or go to the store and look in their tweeds. But it is, again, a medium weight number 4 acrylic yarn. We're going to be stitching today with our eye hook, which is a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. You need a needle just for weaving in ends, and of course a pair of scissors. So the way we stitch up this headband is we're going to be stitching in rows, and according to the pattern, it's going to fit a 22 to 24 inch head if you make it according to what I have written. But it's super easy to make it shorter or longer just by adding or subtracting rows at the end, and make sure you measure with your tape measure as you go. And also remember that yarn is stretchy, so you might want to make it maybe an inch smaller than your head size, because you don't want it to stretch out and slide off your head at a most inconvenient time. So we're going to begin with a slip knot, and we're going to chain 13 chains. Now make sure you don't chain this initial chain too tightly. You want to chain it a little bit loose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13 chains. All right, so what we're going to do next is we're going to stitch a half double crochet in the second chain from the hook. That chain 1 that we're going to skip will not count as a stitch. So to stitch a half double crochet, we're going to put a wrap on our hook. We're going to go in that second chain, pull up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and go through all 3 of those loops. So now we're going to stitch 1 half double crochet in each of those chains across. And remember, we started in the second chain from the hook, and we don't count that first chain as a stitch. Oops, there we go. I really like this particular yarn for this project because it changes colors on almost like an ombre, and it's really going to look pretty, I think. Alrighty, I'm going to go ahead and chain one. We chained one, we're going to turn our work, and for row 2 we're going to stitch a half double crochet in each of the 12 half double crochets. The chain one does not count as a stitch, so we're going to start right in that first stitch and stitch a half double crochet, and then we'll stitch one. Okay, there we go. One in each of the half double crochets across. Chain one, you'll have 12 half double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 in our chain one, and then turn. And we're going to repeat that. Again, our chain one does not count as a stitch, so we'll stitch a half double crochet in that first stitch, and then 1 half double crochet in each of those stitches across. And this is going to give us 3 rows with 12 half double crochets on each of those 3 rows. So we have 3 rows of half double crochets, 12 half double crochets on each row, and after our 3rd row we're going to chain 3. The chain 3 does count as a double crochet on our next row. We turned our work and we're going to double crochet in the next stitch. We're not going to stitch in the first one because our chain 3 counts as our first. So we'll double crochet in the next stitch. Now we're going to stitch what's called a crossover or a cross stitch. It has a couple of different names. We're going to be stitching double crochet. So we'll yarn over. We're going to skip this next half double crochet and double crochet in the next. Now we're going to yarn over. We're going to cross back and go from the back to the front of that stitch and stitch our double crochet. See how it crossed? So we'll skip the next one, double crochet in the next, and then cross back and double crochet in that skipped stitch, just like we just did. We're going to do this again. And when you first start doing these, it can be a little bit clumsy, but don't worry about it. Just take your time. You saw how it came off my yarn hook, and that happens sometimes. So just take your time and you'll get it. It's a super fun and easy stitch. All right, so we have 4 of those cross stitches. That leaves 2 double crochets on the end, and we're just going to stitch a double crochet in those last 2 stitches. And only chain 1. All right, and that's how row 4 should look. 3 rows of half double crochets, and then 1 row with 2 doubles, 4 crosses, and 2 doubles. We chained 1. We're going to turn our work. We're going to stitch a half double crochet in each of those double crochet stitches. The chain 1 does not count as a stitch, so we'll stitch our first half double crochet in that first stitch, and then we'll stitch 1 in each of those double crochets. Now, when you're working in cross stitches, they're still double crochets. They're just placed in a different spot. And so the best way to find those is to look on the top and make sure you put a half double crochet in each of those stitches because you want your stitch count to be 12. And if you follow those sets of loops on the top, you'll come out with 12 half double crochets. I almost said double crochets. Half double crochets and chain 1. All right, see how that looks? Make sure you placed 1 half double crochet in each of the stitches across, and you'll have 12 half double crochets, chain 1. And now what we're going to do, we've chained 1, we're going to turn our work and we're going to do 2 more rows of half double crochets, so we have 3 just like we do here. So our chain 1 does not count as a stitch. We'll half double crochet in that first stitch and in each stitch across, and then we'll repeat that one more time, so we have 3 rows of half double crochets. And I think now you're starting to see how our pattern is going to work. We're going to have 3 rows of half double crochets, then 1 row of the double crochet and double crochet cross stitches. And then we'll repeat. Chain 1, turn, and repeat 1 half double crochet in each of the half double crochets all the way across. So now we have 3 rows of half double crochets and we chained 3. So we're going to turn our work. We're going to double crochet in the next stitch because remember, on our double crochet rows, that chain 3 counts as our first double crochet. And now we're going to do those cross stitches again. So I stitched my 4 cross stitches. Now I'm going to stitch a double crochet in the last 2 stitches. Whoops. There we go. And only chain 1. All right, so now we have another set of 3 half double crochet rows and then a row of our double crochets with our double crochet cross stitches. Now that you understand the way that our repeat is going to work for our headband, which is 3 rows of half double crochet and then 1 row of the double crochet cross stitches, that's row 5, 6, 7, and 8. And you're going to repeat row 5, 6, 7, and 8 10 more times, so that you have 10 repeats of row 5, 6, 7, and 8 for the length that you need to fit a 22 to 24 inch head. Now remember, if you're going to make it shorter for a smaller head, do less repeats. If your head is bigger or you just want it bigger, you can do more repeats. All right? So we're going to repeat row 5, 6, 7, and 8, those 4 rows, 10 more times. I completed the amount of repeats I want for my head, and you're going to end up on a cross stitch row. But I want you to look at it. It's super pretty and it gives the appearance of cables running through the project. Isn't that pretty? And I also like the way the colors in this particular yarn moved. It went from like a darker color to lighter golds, cranberries, and it got dark again. Then we're back to this dark. All right, so once you've done the amount of repeats that you need for your project, we're going to do on the end 3 more rows of the half double crochet. That way we have something to hook the 2 ends together. without having to stitch on our cross stitch row. All right, so we're going to stitch a chain 1, and then we're going to stitch 3 more rows of half double crochets. We've added those last 3 rows of half double crochets. Now it's time to twist it and put the ends together. So what you're going to do, this is what I do. We're going to lay it out flat, and we're going to take one side and twist it over like this. Now I'm going to take this and pick it up so the ends come together like that. All right, so here's our twist. We're going to leave it alone for right now, and we're going to put the 2 ends together. Make sure that it only has one twist. Okay, and so now we're just going to put the 2 ends of our headband together. So we'll go in that first stitch on this side and the first stitch on this side and grab that loop, pull it across, and we'll do a little chain 1 to get going. And now we're just going to stitch a slip stitch, stitching the 2 sides together. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to stitch the front and back together with slip stitches. So we'll go in those first stitches, pull a loop through, pull that loop through the loop on your hook. And by stitching these slip stitches, we're stitching the front and the back together. I like to take a little second, check how it's looking here, making sure it looks nice. I like it. So I'll just finish going across, stitching my front and back of my headband together. Make sure everything lines up. String out of the way. Out of the way. All right, now I'm just going to chain 1. I see everything's lined up nicely, and I'll go ahead and cut my yarn. All right, so I'm going to tie that off, and all we have to do here is weave in these ends. And you want to end with a good secure weave in. You don't want to be out wearing your headband and have it come undone on you. That would be super duper embarrassing. I'm a headband girl. I like to pop them on and run to the store, especially when I wear my hair up like I have it done today in this video, because my hair's gotten long and I do like wearing my hair up and out of my face. All right, let me weave in this last one, and my headband is going to be all ready to wear. We're all tidied up and weaved in, and this is the inside, so we're going to flip it over. There's the back, and we want to make sure that the twist is in the center. Just like that. That's the only twist that's in there. It's just like making a Mobius scarf or a infinity scarf. You have one twist and it sits right in the front of your headband. Now, if you want to tack that down with a couple of stitches, you can. I never do. The other thing is, a lot of people like to put a single crochet trim on the edge. I don't. I think it's fine without it, but if you want that, you certainly can, and it will look really pretty. So here's the tweed one that we just made together, and here's this one made out of cotton, both medium weight, number 4 yarns. And I have made hundreds of this style of headband using leftover yarns. I do it a lot of times just for something to do. I set them aside. When somebody has a birthday, I'll add something to go with it, like maybe some shampoos, lotions or something, and I'll give them this headband. It's a great thing to have on hand. Use up your leftover scraps and make some fun gifts. Isn't that a super fun thing to make? You can use up your leftover yarns and make something beautiful and useful. Because if you're like me, you love to put your hair up when you're running your errands, especially in the summer. And cotton for the summer or acrylic, they're great to just have on hand. Make a bunch for every outfit that you have, and make a bunch to set aside in your closet for gifts as well. Well, I hope you enjoy making these. I know I love making them. They're a great mindless thing to make with your leftover yarns. Well, thank you for being with me today. Rosie's with me too. And I'll see you next Friday for another Friday Fun Day.